challenging parts for me is I'm actually an introvert and I don't like reaching out to new people, and communicating with strangers is challenging, and it's really challenging to promote myself. It's much easier for me to promote someone else. Now, when I meet a new client on the site, it's a different situation for me because I'm providing a service to them. As long as I do what I know I'm supposed to do, I know I'm going to satisfy them and take care of them. And that's my reward to push through, meeting someone new as an introvert and doing that. I want to do the inspection, then share what I know, win them over, and provide my service. And they're always happy. It's going out and like meeting agents, new agents like you guys. You guys are also particular on your home inspectors because nobody wants us to kill a deal. And it's just so hard. You got to self-promote so heavy, as a home inspector to your agents. It's just something that does not come naturally to me. And as a home inspector, I've actually never done an office presentation at a real estate office, which is pretty rare. A lot of guys, that's their bread and butter for growing their business. I've just grown my business off of real estate agents I meet doing home inspections. I advertised a little bit on Yelp starting out, which hardly any home inspectors have any success on. But we nailed it there just with like our responses and customer service and engaging with the actual client. And then from there, I would meet their real estate agent. They'd like what I do, get a card, and kind of start using me from there. And that's been my only source. But as I'm growing, turn into a multi-inspector firm, we gotta kind of duplicate to really keep the growth coming. I've doubled every year since I opened, and this year is probably the first year we're having some challenges with that. But I think it's unique just with the market, everything that's going on. Last month, we were doing 80 to 95 home inspections a month, and maybe 20 to 30 home inspections a week. This week we got 5 on the calendar. So
Welcome to the shift.
Insane shift right now. And I think a lot of it's just, the Fed meeting coming out, seeing how much interest rate's going to come up. I think a lot of people are kind of pausing. There's obviously tons of market stuff going on. Everybody's talking recession, all the stuff everybody's been talking about. So I'm really kind of trying to, okay, there's going to be maybe a little market contraction. Some home inspectors might be going out of business if it gets challenging. I'm really trying to focus on grabbing more market share in like a contracting time, so that we're better positioned when, down the road, whenever it is, it picks up, we can go back to our heavy growth.
So let's talk about that for a second, because as the market's shifting, right, which we're all experiencing right now, and all of a sudden you're noticing, because you're front line, right? An escrow happens, an inspection happens immediately. So you're absolutely front line on the market. But now more than ever, to grab that market share, you have to overcome that introvert part and start to get out there, right? And this is a time to hustle. This is the time to get it. So what does that make you think or feel, or what are you experiencing in knowing, okay, I need to be going there, but is there a resistance around that, or are you planning through that?
Tons of resistance personally. It's mostly just, anxiety about, going up and doing these presentations. And so I actually got one scheduled. I'm presenting at the Keller Williams office. I think it's down in Sabre Springs, kind of their North County division. I had an agent I did a lot of work with, Allison Blinkle, and she kind of got me in there. She kind of wanted, other people in the office to use me. So we set it up and we're doing it. It's June 28th. And, that's probably my biggest personal challenge to overcome right now, is just kind of getting everything prepared for that. And, talking in front of 1 or 2 people at home inspection is no big deal to me. It's fine. Talking in front of a room full of 25, 30 real estate agents who, all love their home inspector and don't want the new guy. Yeah, that kind of makes it a little more on the anxiety side for me.
Understood. And that's all a mindset. And again, like with how badass you are as a home inspector, and you're our guy, and when you did the last home inspection for Mike and Denise, man, they raved about you. Those are the things that you need to start putting inside of yourself, because a couple weeks ago we were talking about celebrating, right? Celebrating ourselves. And what I'm hearing from you, it tells me that yes, you love to help people, but I think that we forget our worth and how good we really are in helping people. When you start paying attention to that, when you recognize how you've impacted not just the agents, right, with great home inspections, but finding the things that future homeowners really need to know and understand, and that came from your knowledge and your inspection. It's not to put a chip on your shoulder or grow your ego, it's to understand your value. And it I'm going out on a limb, but I would say that you're disconnected from how valuable you are to how you're seeing yourself. Right? How others see you versus how you're seeing yourself, to me, I believe is disconnected. Because I never want to hire somebody else to do my home inspections. Like when your schedule's full and I need a rush, I I feel very uncomfortable, whether you know this or not. I feel super uncomfortable having to go to a different inspector because I love your work. But you're not understanding how valuable you are to us. So I think if you shifted your mindset to understanding how much additional value and peace of mind you're going to bring to future agents that work with you and their clients, you'll be coming from a place of value, understanding, great work ethic, great knowledge, sharing it. Your reports are always amazing, right? Like you're not understanding what you're bringing to those people. And because of that, there's a judgment of how am I going to come across in front of this room of people versus I'm going to share shit that's going to blow people's minds that they need to understand and know about and what we do differently in this business and my history and how I got here as a home inspector and what this is going to mean to you guys. If you start to come from a place of understanding the value that you bring, again, non egotistical, but just even hearing my praise to you about why we work with you, it's not that you grew up, knowing my wife or that Zesty is your cousin. Like, those are all nice, right? But it's the same thing. I read Facebook posts all the time in real estate rooms around my best friend bought a house and they knew I was in real estate and they didn't work with me. Well, there's probably a reason they didn't work with you, right? But they're more ego butthurt than understanding, well, why didn't my best friend work with me?
Right.
I don't want to work with another home inspector because of how good you are and how much value you bring to me and my clients. But I don't think you've associated that to who you are as a home inspector and what that means in the home inspection industry. So think about that. Think about who you are and what you're really representing. And you started it off with, I love being there. This is a big purchase for people. I want to help them make this process easier. Like you're coming from a place of value and contribution, but you're not associating any of that to who you are and what you're really doing because of the way you're leading yourself through your business. You don't know what that means to agents or the buyers, but you need to in order to not be afraid and come from a powerful place and share that. Whole different way of presenting.
All right.
Any
Yeah, I
thoughts?
agree with you. I feel like my value to the client is strong. I feel like it's harder to put put like put it into or put that value towards the agent. Like I
That's
feel
just
more like the client always appreciates us more than typically the agents do.
I'm just gonna stop you, Garrett. That's just a story. The client doesn't appreciate you more because the client is one time.
Hmm.
How many times have we worked together?
Oh,
I don't know,
countless.
right?
Yeah.
Right? So why the fuck am I still calling you, bro? If you're more valuable to the
I
client than
haven't
me.
killed too many deals for you, I guess. Yeah.
But I would welcome a kill deal if it was what was right for the client.
Right. Well,
But that's what you have to see. So just shift that story because that one doesn't even belong. I think I'm more important to the buyers.
Can I
We only meet
intervene,
the buyers.
Steve, too?
Yeah, go ahead, Benny.
Hey, Garrett, just to let you know that Jen Marlowe, when we did her house, we bought two different homes, or we were in contract two different homes. We did a home inspection with another home inspector who I've used for the last 15 years. And then I chose you for the next one. And she told me, she actually pulled me aside and said, hey, Benny, the way you are, who you are, I don't know why you're not using this guy Garrett every single time.
huh.
He represents you, and the other guy was good, but he does not resemble you. He's like, Garrett, was you. So I'm like, and that's what sealed me right there, bro. You made me look great in front of my client, and you found everything, and she was stoked. So
cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Benny. I appreciate it.
I was like, done. Switch now.
Awesome.
So my share about Denise and Mike didn't help you at all. It took Benny, right? So it took two of us, the tag team. We had to sandwich you.
Right.
So,
you're almost like family, Steve. You know, it's.
But just understand your worth. When you can understand your worth and what you're going to do to augment in a positive way somebody else's business because of your value, and you're coming from a belief standpoint, dude, you're still in business. You have to remember that, right? People that suck at what they do, they're not in business. You've mentioned that your business has been doubling, right? This year will definitely be an interesting year as things shake out.
Sure.
But why is that happening? You're not asking yourself that question.
Every now and then I have the epiphany that we're still growing in a tough market.
Yeah,
but it's just that self-doubt. It's our biggest Achilles heel, you know, self-doubt.
That's it. So, well, I think this was a perfect example. We don't need to call on somebody else, but that is what I wanted to explain. You know, we go towards things naturally, and look at what just happened, right? Look at what we just took Garrett through. He wants to just be in the home inspection. I just want to be here, you know, sharing value and content and punching people in the brain so we can get a bit of a shift. But there are other things that still have to happen. The question is what's the story around all those other things, right? We have to associate who we are in everything, as opposed to the self-doubt or, you know, kill the deal, or I think I'm more impactful to the buyer. Like, again, look at the stories that we're telling ourselves around things that are completely fictitious. They're not real. But yet we've created them. And because of that, it amplifies the resistance we have towards doing certain things, because we're not using the value of who we truly are to muscle through that bullshit story that's just smoke and mirrors for no reason other than the story serving you by keeping you an introvert and uncomfortable doing other things that can grow your business. And you're validating that because you're not celebrating or acknowledging your value. Massive disconnect. And so both Benny and I gave you examples that I hope you remember from here on forward for decades. Because this is all it should take. Two individuals on a call that you had no idea that Benny would be on this call, but both saying the same thing, right?
Yeah, nice.
And that
nice hearing it. Thanks, guys.
Right? But it's not thanks, guys. It's understand and apply that for yourself. Because that's for you. You're hearing stuff, but if you're not going to absorb it and apply it, then this call was a waste for you.
Correct.
We don't need we don't need to be praised a million times, right? We just have to be ready to hear the story. So for you, it's, are you ready to understand that when you go up there, you're offering way more value than you think you're offering yourself, right? And hearing that here, I hope that gives you the punch in the brain that you need to shift a little bit and go, I am a badass. I don't have to act like an asshole, but I'm great at what I do. That's the difference. So as we go out today, again, the homework for us, just the quick things is all you got to do is pay attention to where you want to go and where you don't. And where you don't want to go, what can you do about that? Because if there are still things that need to be done in your business, they still need to be done. But if they're an energy vampire, if they turn you off, if they make you uncomfortable, it's not where you should be spending your time. So that's what we have to do, is build systems and plans around it so we don't have to spend our time there. Part of it we might have to for a short period until we get an operating procedure done and we have somebody who can do it and we've trained them up enough, and we're not just letting them go with an expectation that I hired you should know this all. And I've seen people do that countless times, including myself. But there's not enough time in a day to do everything, and there's not enough, I don't know, man, there's just not enough energy internally to do the things that are just constantly sapping it out of you because you don't want to be there. So pay attention to what those things are. Write them down. and then see how you can implement changes. Not all at once, not blow your brains out, but that you can do over time so that you can stay in your lane. All right, everyone. We'll wrap it up. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Enjoy and do your homework. I'll talk to y'all soon. Later, guys.
Later.
You see.
Later, man.